Hey YouTube, the reason why I'm doing this video is to talk about psychological controls. Psychological controls are usually used by psychiatric mastery students. Basically, they master the trade and basically they learn certain psychological controls to actually take control of a patient or a person that they're dealing with at the present moment. These psychological controls are programming. Basically, they can be programmed in a million different ways. Sometimes people go through psychological controls through forms of abuse. Basically, a psychological control, the person abuses that person so much and they use it as a control mechanism. This is basically dark psychology, a way to manipulate. Most psychological controls are hard to deprogram, hard to get rid of, and hard to take back possession of a person's original thought process, form of dealing with things, and forms of control because of the programming that has taken place through the psychological control method. Over a period of time, a person may be abused, forced to, through forms of abuse, to do certain things. A certain voice may be a trigger or switch for them. Certain things may cause problems. Sometimes when you're dealing with people who are suffering, sometimes from demonic possession, they will have multiple psychological triggers. These psychological triggers must be deprogrammed. Basically, the psychological trigger is that they're thinking that they must defend themselves, so they're blanked out and they're in a defense mode. And at that point, they're thinking that you are in opposition for them. You are an opponent against them, not for them, but against them. Whatever you're doing is against them. So basically, they're suffering demonic possession through psychological control mechanisms. You may take this as a threat. They know not what they're doing. Sometimes they're not there. This is their blank out moment. This is their switch out moment. This is the way they're taught to cope. A certain code has been used to blank them out, or a certain device that's been used to blank them out, and basically another person or whatever the psychological control mechanism is taught takes control of that person, and they no longer can protect themselves or rid themselves of the problems that basically presented into their lives through psychological control mechanisms. Other things I would say, never make yourself seem like the opposition, because these are mechanisms that may be used throughout their day. A person can be at work and basically be taken advantage psychologically, and these psychological control mechanisms basically be placed on them while they're at work, while they're in school, while they're doing their day-to-day activities without them even being aware of the psychological control mechanism being used against them, or being basically implanted and programmed into them. They will probably not have a memory of it. This memory loss is not common. It has become habitualized. Basically, we're dealing with this state with a lot of the rape victims that people are coming in contact with. You're dealing with this state with a lot of people trying to function daily and being attacked psychologically through these psychological controls. A lot of times they have heard harsh talking and BITCHs and this and that, and they're taught not to fear it because they may be a fighter. They definitely may be a fighter, and it will become hard for them. A lot of times, mechanisms such as fire, these activities take place. They will sit up there and basically light a flame in front of the person, or light a lighter and have them look at the lighter and stuff like that, and talk to them, hypnotizing them and taking them through a series of control mechanisms, basically through fire. or if you hear the word fire without the flame even being there, you go back to that state or result to that state. All of these are psychological controls usually used by master students to actually take control of a person and bring them back to homelization state, or basically stabilizing the person. What is going on now, these same mechanisms and control are now being used against the people to actually do the total opposite. So they never go to homeostasis. They actually result to something totally different, a defensive state, a threatening state, rival state, because they were surrounded, maybe abused, and a multitude of different things while these controls was basically put in. I am not a mastery student in psychology, but what I will say, unless those control mechanisms are deprogrammed, they cannot really completely take back control of themselves. And they will continue to show up throughout life if it's not removed. And this was used as a form of demonic possession. God bless.